So I think that's my thought.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the tough part, and I sort of like drew this short straw on this because I'm probably the only one who can try to hold it together here. I'm gonna go off script on all this stuff here. We as a convention, we work very closely with each other. We work very hard throughout the year to make a lot of this event happen. And this was a particularly difficult year for our team. In December, not too long actually after last year, we lost Quasi Skunk. He was with the convention for, gosh, well more than a decade. Very integral part of the staff. He covered the Fursuit Lounge. We've got Con Suite, Staff Lounge, I mean, everywhere. And we miss Quasi incredibly dearly. It's been very, very challenging for the team this year to be able to fill those shoes. We never will, but we'll try to move on. And then, as the team was adjusting, we lost Takaza earlier in the spring. I'd known Dan for a while, and it was sudden. Dan had a heart attack. He was at home. And it's tough. It's tough when you spend a lot of time working closely with somebody to have that happen. And I know I'm not the only one, even by a long shot, this has impacted. Duncan, his partner, and their whole family was very, very heavily impacted with it. Duncan, of course, is a staffer, former con chair. He has been brilliant at coming back to help us out again this year. It's been real tough for us. It's real tough for a lot of our staff. I think we've done a brilliant job. I couldn't be more proud of my team. I couldn't be more proud of all the people who volunteered. Cry on stage. I guess that's sort of the point in all of this, is that this is more than just a job for a lot of us. I mean, obviously we're all volunteers, but there's such an emotional connection. A very good friend of mine, Thumper, continually drills this into me all the time. He's like, we're mission driven, we're mission driven. We're here because we believe in what we do. I do this because I've watched people over the years evolve from being nerdy little teenagers like I was as a kid, to suddenly gaining a level of confidence because I can speak amongst my peers. Maybe I go to an office after my convention, I'm able to ask my boss for a raise. Maybe I get the confidence to tell my family something I couldn't otherwise tell my family because I felt finally supported in my life. This, to a lot of us, is far more than just a chance to be silly and crazy. Please, be silly and crazy. We do encourage that. But I think the beauty in all this, though, is that you've got a team that is so dedicated to this, and that's why we keep saying, please, constructive, in parentheses, criticism is incredibly helpful. We're not doing something because we're being difficult or because we're trying to be jerks. We're doing something because we genuinely believe it's the right thing to do. And as the attendees, if you don't find something that's working, we want to correct it because this is a very important event for all of us. So Takaza is going to be enormously missed for a very long time. It left the organization with a significant hole. We didn't even realize, because Takaza was so incredibly pervasive in everything that he touched, just how much stuff he was involved in. And it has been super hard to fill those shoes. But again, super proud of the team for that, and definitely appreciate everybody else and all the patience that you've had throughout the year. A lot of the delays we may have had opening hotels and dealers and other stuff much earlier in the year, pretty much a reflection of the fact that our team, not only do we have day jobs, but we're coping with an awful lot. So you guys have been spectacular. I mean, we do this because you were amazing. Most of you who knew about this stuff, actually all of you who found out about this, you were very, very supportive of this. And there's a lot to that. We're not just like a business convention or a bunch of people getting together to do stuff. There really is a community and a family that begins to develop around here. So thank you guys for that. So, the last thing I'll call out, and we'll get back on to some more positive stuff here. I mean, there's some service pins that you'll see some of us wearing that have Takaza's character on them and Quasi's characters and things like that.
And then going back to a furry con and seeing, the fun and the camaraderie everyone was sharing. And of course, awesome music. uh, made me realize how special of a gift it was, to be able to perform, to be able to share my music, and you know, made me want to get back out there. And that's saying a lot because it's been a pretty rough ride over the past few months, years, and definitely a reflection that I took from this weekend was an appreciation for music and for performance that I had taken for granted. So that's the main point that I had. But I had a great weekend, and hopefully everyone that was at Furry Fiesta had a great weekend. I mean, I'm pretty sure you did, just because it's Furry Fiesta. But just saying it. Now, one thing did happen this weekend, this past weekend, that was not awesome in the least. And it happened Sunday. Actually, I didn't find out. It happened while I was still at the con. I was in the poker tournament, but after I had left, um, we stopped at a pizza place called Skinny Pizza, which they don't have those everywhere, but they're like healthy pizza. Okay. It's basically healthy pizza. It's really, really good pizza. And so we were eating there, and I was checking Twitter, and I saw Rama, who I hung out with at at Furry Fiesta. I saw him tweeting about how he lost another friend, and this sucks, or whatever he tweeted. And I was like, wait, you lost another friend? And so I go through and do some inspection, and I checked out his other tweets, and I saw where he had retweeted a post from Duncan the Husky that at 2:02 p.m. on Sunday, his husband Takaza JW on Twitter, Takaza, you may know him, died of a massive heart attack. 2:02 on Sunday, and I was in the restaurant. I was in Skinny Pizza, and I was waiting on my pizza, and I read that tweet. And I always said, "Oh man," and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I threw my glasses down, and I put my head in my hands like this. It's like I just did this, and there weren't very many people in the restaurant. They probably would have called the cops, been like, "What the fuck is he doing? He's about to blow up the place." Maybe not, but yeah, just did that, and it's like I just can't believe it. I don't know why karma has been so fucking vindictive lately, taking everyone, so many awesome people, so many people that I care about, and taking them away. Too freaking. It's not fair. It's not fair. All these evildoers out there in the world, and you take Takaza. You take Takaza. Now Takaza, maybe he's not necessarily a household name in the fandom. At least, to most people, they'd be like, "Oh, who's Takaza?" But anyone who is, paying any sort of attention to, furry conventions and, you know, particularly MFF, knows Takaza, knows what Takaza's done very well, and has come to enjoy and appreciate what Takaza helped build, even whether or not they knew Takaza helped build it. But Takaza is an extraordinary, or was an extraordinary person, and he was one of the architects of Midwest Fur Fest. And he was con chair for 4 years, and not to mention that, but he and Duncan helped found the Furry Convention Leadership Roundtable, which is basically a consortium of furry con leaders, con chairs, programming staff, PR staff, etc., who collaborate on ideas to make not just their own events better, but the fandom as a whole better, and the furry experience better, the furry community better. Takaza was instrumental in that, instrumental in the efforts of, uniting the fandom, cutting through all the BS, and helping put on amazing productions, not just in Chicago, but also in Pittsburgh and all over the fandom. Takaza has had a part, has played a part in a lot of what you experience, even though you may have never met him. You have, in the fandom, if you're a convention goer, you have benefited from Takaza's contributions to this fandom indelibly, and definitely you have. And so, with a heavy heart, I know Takaza's soul is resting in peace. I know Takaza's soul is resting in love, and I know Takaza will always be remembered, and he will live on. His contributions, his impact to this fandom will live on. It will live on for years, for generations to come. Because I think Furry's not going anywhere. Furry will be here 100 years from now. We will be here, and it will be thanks in large part to Takaza. And so, may you rest in peace. To Duncan, to all of Takaza's close friends, to the entire Lake Area Furry Friends community, to the Midwest Fur Fest family, and really to everyone who crossed paths with this extraordinary gentleman and wonderful furry. I hope that you're able to find peace in knowing that your friend will not be forgotten. We won't forget him. We will not forget. This hurts though. This hurts. So I pretty much, have been thinking about Takaza more or less since, with occasional, thoughts of getting stuff done at work. Pretty much, from that point, it's just been looming. And I was gonna, put the fursuit on and record "See You Again" tonight, in memory of not just Takaza, but all of the furries and other people in my life in particular who we've lost over the past few months. And Jay Badger, my kickball teammate Josh, but my camcorder's busted, so I don't know if I have a recording of "See You Again" from a previous session. I know we've attempted to record it in the past. I don't remember if I was able to upload it to the computer before the camcorder busted, but I think it's still on the camcorder, to be honest. But yeah. Quasi, Ferp, and J Badger, Panda Guy, now Takaza. It's too much. life life goes on, but damn, like every day just gets harder and harder and harder. You know, I heard someone talking. I guess it was Rush Limbaugh. Um, why do I listen to Rush Limbaugh? Because I want to know what the other side is saying. But basically, he was talking about how the if you've seen the Matrix movies, how there's theories about how we're all just a computer game. We're just bits and bytes in a computer program, just created by some overlord for their amusement. Cancer and heart disease and stroke and Alzheimer's, ALS. All these diseases are just tests for their amusement. And we're just in a matrix, and I can't say that that's true. I have no way of knowing, but life at times like this just doesn't seem fair. Now, all this time that I ranted about, a North Carolina basketball player taking 4 steps on an attempted shot, or a forearm shiver, or a missed call by a ref. None of that shit matters. None of that shit matters. Wow, even in Wolfcat had to bury his best friend this year. There's so much loss. I don't know what to say, but life goes on, and if Takaza were here in person as he is in spirit, he would want us to go on. He would want us to continue to be awesome. He would want us to continue to enjoy each other, and to basically let our awesomeness be his legacy. Because he gave a lot to this fandom. He put many hours, time, money, heart and soul, blood, sweat, tears. I mean, I know that's a metaphor, but I'm sure Takaza's bled for this fandom. He wouldn't want us to just go sulk for the rest of our lives because he's gone. Because one, he's not gone. He's here. He's here in spirit with us. And two, he spent a good part of his life helping build this fandom into the awesomeness that it is, into the fact that we've inspired an Oscar winner. We've taken over multiple downtowns at this point, and not just Pittsburgh. We've taken over multiple downtowns. We've taken over Denver. We've taken over San Jose. Now we're taking over Dallas. He wouldn't want that to die. He would want it to continue to grow. He would want the energy to continue to be shared amongst all of us. And so that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do here in the shop. And that's what we're going to do in this fandom. And that's how we're going to honor Takaza, by continuing to be awesome. Do we have a deal? Do we have a deal? We got a deal, right? We got a deal? We got a deal. All right, good. Good. That's something we can do for his memory. We can continue to be awesome. And with that,
good to see you in here. And I was actually going to mention as well, on sort of bringing it back to the wholesome points of this stream, when someone mentioned how, what was it, the After Dark had set in. Did you hear about the After Dark show of MFF or Fox and Pepper?
I heard about it.
Were you there?
I did not go to MFF.
Well,
MFF.
I had the pleasure of witnessing what turned out to be, in my opinion, one of the most extraordinary moments in furry fandom.
Please explain it to our audience.
As some of you may know, Fox and Pepper, one of the most acclaimed duos in the furry fandom.
They're dynamic.
Yes, the dynamic, the illustrious, the incomparable duo of Fox and Pepper had an after dark show at Midwest Fur Fest on Saturday, and throughout the show they had set milestones.
Yes.
Where if the audience had donated this much money, they would do this. If the audience donated further, they would do something more. It got to the point where they alone had raised over $8,000
Mother of...
in a single sitting. If there was one point in 2017 where you could put that as the exemplar or the saving grace of the year, I would vouch for that.
I'm going to say this right now. Ladies and gentlemen, the various major conventions do not compete.
Not at all.
We are not competitors. We are friends. Friendly rivals it will be. If one is successful, the rest of us jump on it and try to steal it. For many, many years, people were jumping on and stealing Anthracon's ideas. However, this year, Midwest Fur Fest has surged ahead and shown us how it is done. So, as the chairman of Anthracon, I am beyond proud, beyond pleased to be in the position of stealing MFF's ideas. Because in the end, that's how we excel. That is how, for the past 20 years, our fandom has surged ahead. We have seen what one another did, and we have simply stolen it. There's no other way to put it. People have written me and said, "Ew, Uncle Keggy, how do you feel about Midwest being the biggest con?" I am proud of them. I am proud to the point of tears, because I was there at Midwest Fur Fest first year. I was there as they grew, and to see them now become larger than Anthracon, that's fine. Because, take it from an old academic, there is no greater joy, no greater reward than to see one's student outpace the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Midwest has surged ahead, please continue to do so.
I'll drink to that if I will drink to anything in 2017.
Because, well, go on.
Well, and before we continue with our drink,
Yes, sir.
to the students that are here with us and those who have gone before us. In particular, a dear colleague who was instrumental to seeing that growth continue to this day. You know who I'm talking about, of course?
No.
Takaza.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, to one of the finest of us, Takaza, whom we lost this year. Okay, take a deep breath. He was the finest of us, and he continues to be.
Takaza, where you may be, our glasses are raised to you. You'll never leave our hearts, and you'll certainly never leave our fandom. But moving on that note...
Let's do that, shall we?
Let's move on from that note as well. But I feel it was appropriate for 2017.
Ruben van Gluck says, when the student becomes the master becomes an alcoholic. You caught... Yes! Yes! That's exactly what we're saying! You... Did it. Beautiful.
You know what? At the end of the day, that's exactly what we do it for, so that we can continue to inspire. And who is that there that says Wolf Brave says, "Hi, Grumpy." Are they talking about you or are they talking about
no,
me?
No, you're the grumpy one.
Are you sure? I'm not feeling quite grumpy. I'm feeling quite noodle, in fact.
There, you're grumpy now.
What did you just do to my
You're
dog?
grumpy. Talk to the man. Talk to him.
Yes. Hello back to you, Wolf Brave. Huff. You want some
It's Herf. It's Herf. Herf.
Don't tell me how to grumpy. I know how to grumpy. I am Tianlong. I am the one who is grumpy. I shall teach you how to grumpy.
Hang on. Wait. I'm gonna stop. Stop.
What?
Stop.
What?
Polar Lycaios. I don't know him, but who was Takaza? Give me a moment. Okay, Polar. Listen to me. Our fandom, furry fandom, has grown a lot since its earliest days. And we can point to a certain very, very few individuals who have shown us the way. Now, I'm Uncle Kage. Uncle Kage. I'm going to state right now, ladies and gentlemen, people say, "Oh, Uncle Kage is a leader." If I am, it is because I was inspired and advised by an incredibly wise man. In our fandom, he went by Takaza. If we, in the far future, could write the history of furry fandom, very, very few names would rise to the top as people who made furry fandom what it is. Takaza was a man of wisdom. He was a man of incredible patience. He was the man that I turned to when I was at my wit's end. Oh, I am Uncle Kage. But Takaza was the man that Uncle Kage relied on to keep him level, to keep him balanced. No one else in the fandom deserves the credit for making furries what we are today. Please don't thank me, because when I was ready to give up, I had the counsel of an incredible man. Give me a second here. I had the counsel of an incredible man that loaned me his wisdom, that loaned me his strength. His name was Takaza. He was one of the driving forces behind Midwest Fur Fest. This past year, Takaza passed on to a better place, and a large part of me passed with him. I really don't know what else to say. Let's okay, we're gonna leave it at this. What created modern furry fandom? It was people like Dan Hochschild, Takaza. You all can thank him for what he did. He is gone from us now, but not gone from our memories, and it is up to us as furries to carry on with what he taught us to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, to Dan.
to Dan and what he wanted us to do in his memory.
And we're going to continue on.
Life is short. Be silly.
Life is short. Be silly. Drink.
Drink. Prost.
Questions.
Don't let the
Questions.
Don't let the
People are
food
asking
get you
questions.
down.
Hang on. What are they? It's your show. What are they?
Oh, well, let us see. Let us see what else is happening right now. Listening to your heartfelt tribute, Uncle Kage. I'm sorry Takaza wasn't mentioned in Furry Nation. It does not matter whether or not they were mentioned in a single article of publishing or whatnot. The most powerful thing that could happen is that they are remembered for what they have done.
Yeah.
And that is what they have done for us. Takaza was a true gentleman to our community.
He was. And when the history of furry fandom is written, but that's in the future. All right.
That is in the future, indeed.
Here we go. Shelly asks.
Hey, Shelly.
All right. A nice, well, it's not really in question format, but do you have a nice memory of Takaza for all the folks who didn't know him well?
So for those of you who don't know, we lost one of the best of us very recently. And I think it's prudent because he was a happy guy. He was a wonderfully happy guy. I've shared the stage with him many times, and I think he'd want some of the fun memories.
Yeah.
So this show's dedicated to him.
Yeah.
And we're going to finish off with some stories. So Xander, you remember a few.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I watch a lot of wrestling and stuff, and someone has a moniker, the world's sweetest man, and I think that's a perfect way to describe him. Honestly, that would describe him, the world's sweetest man. He was he was a great guy, and he would join us on the Dragon Show at MFF and have us over. You couldn't find a better host.
Oh my God, that first dinner. Do you remember the very first dinner that he cooked for us?
Oh my God, of course.
That was one of the fun, when he realized that he could go for plating. I was sitting at the table, I could not stop laughing as he had cooked for probably 10 hours that day.
Oh yeah.
Him and his husband, Duncan, had been cooking all day. He took the plates back because he realized that he could plate them better. And what he finished was, if I remember correctly, a squash soup with deep fried pork belly and mint, and scallops. And it looked like something you would eat at a 4-star restaurant. It was unbelievable. And he's sitting down at the table like, oh my God, I cooked it and I plated it properly. And then we look over at him like, why aren't you eating anything? He's like, oh, there's garlic in it.
Jesus. Yeah, I was like, we have to up our gay game because
Really?
he was phenomenal at that. And
Also, one hell of a bartender.
absolutely.
You remember
he
some of those.
And he didn't even drink.
No.
But he insisted on bartending because he loved to make drinks for people and got an idea of what to give you for a drink and
There was something special about somebody who hadn't, I have to assume at some point he had to try some of the individual ingredients because he always knew just what to make. And then it always felt bad because he'd make the drink and then he'd hand it over to Duncan. He's like, try this and see if it's poison. So by the end of the night, Duncan is 4 sheets to the wind.
Yeah.
Takaza and me are having a conversation. I'm drunk but functional because I've got a problem. And now he's thrown caution out the window, and he's just like, yep, this bottle, drink. I'm like, epic.
Yeah.
4th level drink.
Yeah, and I'm sure you might know this already, but he helped run and that's the understatement of the century, but he was con chair for many years, and so was Duncan. And what I was going to say was he had never really found his stage legs before, and he got on stage a lot with you guys.
Yep, he was one of our favorite people to have up for Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things, like a lot of the games in Whose Line, and Xander knows this very well, it's one of the reasons that he doesn't want to go on stage as much for that show because he likes an extra moment to think about it, and that's Xander's strong point.
Yeah.
And then you had Takaza, who would come up there and either take a moment and think about something or come up off the hip with the most ridiculous thing you could imagine. And every time he said, like, I don't know how you came up with that, or the path your brain took to go there. I can follow the breadcrumbs. I just don't know how you laid them out like that.
Oh man,
And he had some moments up on that stage.
and he made what was the show?
Him and Duncan created a furry version of At Midnight.
Thank you.
That they ran that very, very well at First Squared, and I believe they did it another time. I can't remember if they did do it another con, but they have a panel that I love. It's one of my favorite to be on. The Furry Smackdown. The Furry Smackdown is Duncan and Takaza, and that panel is just epic. There's a few of them online. Guys, if you get a chance, check those out. They're just so much fun.
I also I want to share. Sorry. One thing I'll never forget is after the end of the first Squared, they invited us up to their room and they had a party, and basically it was congratulating you and everyone.
Oh, the holy shit you did it party.
Yeah.
Yep,
basically.
I remember that was one of the first times that I realized what we had done, and they were a huge part of that. They've actually they are every year we make sure that they are taken care of so that they can throw one of the parties at First Squared. Just because, I mean, it's us. I love throwing parties. I love organizing. You enjoy it to an extent.
Sure.
Nothing compares to a Duncan and Takaza party.
No, I can't even.
That it's.
I can't even come close to even trying. Like I order pizzas, and that's it's like
and chippies. Don't forget
and
your chippies.
Yes, but no, they go all out, and they always were amazing at that. And
so I wanted to hit two specific stories,
Yeah.
and then we'll close it off with this. I've known Duncan and Takaza for quite some time. They were they were some of those cool people that were always there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the first I talked to them before, but one of the first times I actually had a long drawn out conversation with them was at FCN talking about a theme for MFF, because MFF had just chosen the theme Pirates of Lake Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And we were standing in the hallway talking about things that were on theme, to which Duncan told us, I believe Duncan was the one who said, one of my friends has a boat outside of their restaurant that we could totally put on wheels, and it will fit down the hallways of MFF. And now the three of us are just going about how we could have a pirate ship going down the hallway. And of course, I come up with, well, wait a minute. Pirate ships have cannons. If we fill it with a bunch of bad dragon dildos, we can just shoot them into operations. To which Takaza loses his mind. He is almost just doubled over laughing as we look at him like, it was funny, but he's like, dude, some of those dildos have suction cups at the bottom. Could you imagine them flying through operations, hitting the wall, going,
oh my god!
It was one of the first times. I mean, we stood out in the hallway outside of, I think, Uncle Kage's Story Hour, and we were causing a scene. We were laughing so hard.
Awesome.
Which does not compare to, I want to say that Duncan was con chair this year. He was definitely a position at MFF. The very first Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind.
Oh, yes.
Because I was standing in the back of the room. I had helped out at the door, and in the back of the room was Takaza, myself, and Duncan, and we're watching the show, and we are laughing. I mean, if you haven't seen it, Too Much Light, that was one of the best ideas MFF has ever come up with. I love that they invite them every year, but this was the first show, so no one knew what to expect. Like, people had seen their show, but no one knew what they were going to do at MFF.
The vast majority probably didn't know what to expect.
Oh, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
They had, for those of you who don't know what Too Much Light is, they do 30 plays in 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. They have a clothesline on stage with a bunch of numbers, 1 through 30 hanging from it. And you yell out numbers from the audience, and the number that they hear, they will reach up, grab, and read the back of it, and that is the name of the play they're going to do. Some plays last for a few moments, some plays last long. It's a very fun, very entertaining time. But you get a playbill with what all the numbers pertain to. And number 13 was attention whore. We kept yelling 13. We wanted to see attention whore, but they weren't grabbing 13 because other people were loud or whatever. Well, finally, some random number comes up, and one of the male members of the cast goes to the front of the stage and takes about 10 seconds to start the story. Now, bear in mind, Too Much Light isn't always funny. Sometimes it's really heartfelt. Sometimes it's just an amazing performance. This one was deep. As he started talking about his childhood and the hardships he went through, and 10 seconds in, you know that you're going to cry by the end of this.
Sure.
And at about the 15th second, as he's just getting into the story, one of the female leads from behind the stage ran out, grabbed the number 13 off the clothesline, screamed "attention whore," and ripped off her shirt.
Yes.
She was fully topless with her tits hanging out as she ran through the audience. Now, I was standing between two people who are helping run MFF, who had no idea there was nudity in this play. And as one of them is leaning on my shoulder, just losing his mind laughing and going, "We're so fucked."
Oh my God.
Takaza looks over, he's like, "Oh, come on. This is like the first and last pair of tits most of the people in this room are ever gonna see."
Oh my God.
And when she jumped back up on stage, it was Takaza who looked over at me and said, "Oh my God, he never stopped telling his story." And that was something I will never forget because he noticed it, and I couldn't believe it. The guy told the story throughout the commotion that lasted the whole time. It was one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. To share that moment with the two of them, I will cherish that till the day I die. That is just such a great memory.
That's great.
There is one more story.
Okay.
That has, I want to say, has never been told on the Dragon Show. I've told it 1,000,000 times.
Okay.
But it's never been told. I want to say we've never told it on the Dragon Show.
Okay.
Oatmeal.
Ah, yes.
That was Duncan and Takaza.
Yeah, that
was Takaza behind house, back of house, with me and Woody.
Oh, yes.
And some of you might have seen us. Every once in a while, me and Takaza would walk just by each other. We were very busy at cons, but we always take a moment to say hi. And if you've ever seen Venture Brothers with 2 fingers, we did the same thing with 3.
Right.
Because we were back of house at Con Suite. It was Saturday. We were tired.
Now you say when you do the same thing with 3, you're talking about like...
and then touch your fingers together.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Go Team Weirdos.
Sorry, I didn't understand what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Like they touch their fingers together for
Yeah,
ventures.
yeah,
We
yeah.
did it with 3. It was like we would say something different every time.
I gotcha.
Well, we're back of house. And Woody's back there. This is the director of finance.
Right.
And they were doing something on the radio where basically somebody would say, DuckTales, and a bunch of people would come back, woo! So the radios were actually, if I remember correctly, after this year, they put somebody in charge of radios. His entire job is to sit listening to the radio, go, cut the idle chatter. Like, that's his entire job, which is necessary. Well, we're back there, and this DuckTales thing has been going on for a while, and basically we're not paying attention to any kind of radio etiquette. So Woody grabs the radio, and he's like, this is Woody. I've got a 418 and the 43 and the 7916 Beverly Hills 90210. It's just something weird and random, and now it's going back and forth. Now the radio chatters. There's somebody always chiming in, guys, cut the radio chatter. Then other people are being weird and random, and we're kind of laughing. And Takaza turned around and knocked a bowl of instant oatmeal off the counter. And it spilled all over the floor. And I grabbed my radio, it was on my lapel, like, This is Alkali with the head of finance and the guest liaison, which I think that was his job that year. I don't actually remember. We have spilled the oatmeal. I repeat, we have spilled the oatmeal. The radio went dead. And the doors... Now, I look over. Woody is looking at me with eyes as big as saucers. Takaza is horrified and laughing. As the Dorsai jump on the radio. This is the Dorsai. All radio chatter stop. Where is the oatmeal? Like... And I look over at Takaza, and he is holding his side and breathing and talking. You know the...
Yes.
And as he's trying to communicate something to me, I get over the radio again. This is the head of the Dorsai. Where has the oatmeal been spilled? Come in now.
Oh, Jesus.
And Takaza finally... Oatmeal is code for money. And I look at the floor and think about what I said.
Oh, my
That I am
God.
with the director of finance, and the money has been spilled.
Oh, fuck.
We stayed in back of house until the Dorsai tried to stop, find me, and kill me. They stood there. Takaza was actually great. He actually, because this is a very funny story now. At the time,
Oh, sure.
I thought they were going to kill me. And Takaza, being the fucking warm soul he is, he's just, it's okay, Alkali. It's okay. We'll miss you. We don't need your help next year. He was just so nice. Yes. Just like, dude, it's okay. Don't. Oh my God! And this to have that moment, that was why those three fingers happened all the time. So,
Gotcha.
Guys, this episode is to our friend, somebody who will. He's gone, but he will never be forgotten.
Never. No.
Guys, Takaza, we loved you.
We loved you, yeah.
Guys, this is the Dragon Show. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm Xander.
I'm Alkali.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.